7. Um, I don't know if I should like get there around 8 or get there around like an hour afterwards because there was really nothing to do. And I thought it was gonna start at 7, so I got there around like after 7, thinking like, oh, just get it going. But we waited like an hour, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. While the photos of her, I think they were something sacred. I saw somebody with a sacred bag, and I was like, oh. So I happened to be in Houston, and I was like, I'm not gonna miss this. Kelly Rowland, Tina Knowles, and then we later found out Yolanda Adams was gonna be there, which was really cool, really amazing. But I'm like, I'm not gonna miss Kelly Rowland and Tina Knowles family talking about the book is really good. I have been meaning to do a review about it, but I left my notes, and I don't have my notes with me. So get there. It's really boring, really. Get there and it starts, and they do the audio. If you listen to the audiobook, the audio version, they have Angie, Beyonce, Kelly, and Solange leaving like these voice messages, and they just replayed them. Uh, Solange really like her voice was so deep. I was like, oh my gosh, like it like penetrated through the venue. I was just like, oh my gosh, her voice is so deep. You thought Beyonce's voice was deep. So Kelly comes out. I don't know if they were like tired or she was just like from last night because I believe they had a show. They went to the Coward Carter show on Sunday. First of all, it wasn't sold out, which I was kind of surprised about. I was confused and I was surprised about because, and then the lady behind me, I was ear hustling. She was talking about a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of stuff. Um, the lady behind me was like, "I thought it was tomorrow. I'm glad I looked at my calendar today." And then the she was like, it was also on Monday, so I guess like a weekday. It wasn't 100%. But I was just very surprised that it wasn't sold out. There were lots of seats available. But the funny thing is, the people up front, they had like the singular seats, while us in the back had like the theater comfortable or more comfortable seats. Which I was like, but anyways, um, what happened? Nothing really happened. That was just like they talked about Galveston. What else? They talked about her being a mother, and then Kelly was reading off the cards, and I think Kelly did better, like asking questions from like her own. But Kelly didn't read the book. That's what I was just like. Kelly didn't read all of the book. I'm like, put me in the ring. I read all the book. I have questions. I think Kelly was on like chapter 3 on Friday. I'm like, the event is on Monday. You gotta know what you're talking about. But anyways, then she was like, let's talk about your ex-husband. And the whole place starts like giggling because she's very candid in the book about Mathew's infidelity. Matthew's, she never said he was like a bad father. She just said he was a sort of bad husband, just cheating all the time, which I was really surprised about. Like the rumors, I guess, were kind of true about how much and how long he had been cheating, but I didn't know he was cheating before the babe before while she was pregnant, and then I didn't know he was cheating while they were like teenagers or like what singular age, almost double digit ages. I was like, oh, Tina really paints in the book that I shielded the kids from this, and they thought I was the bad guy when he was really the bad guy. I think Solange maybe Solange lashed out once because like they had separated, and Tina. They were over at Matthew's house. Okay, wait, they were over at Matthew's house, and he didn't have any food. And Solange was like, "You got my daddy over there with no food. What we gonna eat? You're just ruining our life." You talking about something hilarious? The Solange parts where she lashes out are hilarious. What else? What else? What else? Oh, why did he? Okay, so Tina left him for like teenagers, and they moved into an apartment. They said she thought it was she said it was a two-bedroom, but Beyonce, Solange, and Kelly remember it as a one-bedroom. I was very confused why he moved into the one-bedroom apartment once they reconciled. That was so confusing. Or not confusing. It just didn't really make sense. Or maybe financially they had to do that. Maybe that's what it was. Okay. So then Mathew walks out. Kelly's like, please, we have a special guest. And I'm looking for Julius because I'm like, is Julius here? Because you know Julius here. That one lady is here. That one lady didn't show up. I don't think Angie was there, but Latoya was there. Flo was there. That's all I could detect. Um, Kelly's like, welcome our special guest, Mathew Knowles. And I'm like, what? Like after we just like giggled about like what? What you mean, Mathew? So Mathew comes out. Tina kinda like her facial expression kind of changes. I don't know why. But the thing was she invited him. She said I invited him and I asked his wife if it was okay. She was okay with it. His wife was in the audience, I believe. I was just like, Gina. He's like, oh, I'm the only person I would marry, a Tina and a Gina. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Oh, God. He said he didn't read all of the book. He said he'd even know about the Weeks Island and her family before and her mother and like her father's history. He said he didn't even know that. I'm like, what? Y'all were married for 30 years and didn't know this part? That's crazy. Um, they didn't really even talk about a lot. Really, honestly. It was just like, oh, okay. They did talk about protecting Destiny's Child and his like vision for Destiny's Child a little bit. Kelly told her story about the mean teacher and how he like sunned her when Destiny's Child had the record deal and he went to go pick them up. Pick Kelly up specifically from school. And Kelly, I don't know, they all have like a love for him still, but I don't know. I'm just like, did they ever? I wanted to know if they ever had a conversation. If Tina and Matthew ever had a conversation about breast cancer. He briefly talked. He like not even briefly. He touched on that brief. Okay, briefly. He touched on it a little bit. He's just like breast cancer, and then then towards the end of his segment, um, you know what was really funny? They both had this like attitude like you answer the question, and they both like pointed to each other at the same time, but not as like key way. They were just doing it as like a you go ahead and do it way, which was interesting. Like they're still kind of in sync. And she did say, "Oh wait, I was watching the Oprah interview. She was just like, it wasn't all 30 years of bad, which was interesting." So then he leave. Oh no, no, no. He gets ready to leave, and He's like, I'm. He does his speeches around the world. He gets ready to leave, and he's like, he gives this long speech about something. Matthew was very long winded. I'm just like, oh my god, oh my god. Please get to the point, sir. But I really can't believe that man came out there like I thought she was gonna introduce Yolanda, but she introduced Mathew. And Matthew is the only person, Tina is the only person in the world that can call in front of his present wife, in front of all of Houston, say, yeah, he had his demons, but he was a pretty good dad. I'm just like cracking up. Like, you can't say that. I started cracking up because somebody already tweeted, like, Tina said Matthew is a demon or has his demon. I was like, she's just going around repeating that line. Like, honestly, just too much. Kelly talked about, they briefly talked about again, because maybe it was time wise. Kelly talked about when Kelly's biological mother passed. Tina, days after having a knee surgery, flew to Atlanta to be with Kelly. And I just love that relationship. The whole Kelly. That's really why I really showed up because I'm just like, it's Kelly Rowland. It's Kelly and Miss Tina. They have history. They are family. So we're really gonna get like authenticity from this talk this evening. Also, I really love that Kelly was talking about what is like a lesson your mom gave you, and Tina was like the lesson of pretty. What was it? Pretty is what pretty does, or something like that. Or you gotta look your way, or look like something like be pretty on the inside and the outside, basically. And Kelly was like, Tina was like, how do you translate that in a modern term to your kids? And Kelly was just like, I don't know, because these are privileged kids at this point. We have privilege. We have, wealthy kids. She said Titan is right here backstage at the stadium of his aunt's concerts and stuff like that. So it's just like, I love that this family has become famous, and they're trying to figure out, I guess, how to properly chastise modern, famous, rich kids. They have all this like access to stuff, which I found so like the truthful, so authentic, and I just love that part. That part was like, yeah, we didn't grow up that way. We were in church getting scolded or getting chastised, but they're they're different. Not only is it in a modern world, but like financially in their lives are different. So I was just like, love that part. That was pretty much it. I can't remember anything else that they talked about that was like significant to repeat besides the whole. Oh, Yolanda Adams came out. Oh my god, Yolanda Adams came out. She talked a little bit. She sang "Open My Heart." Um, and you talking about vocals? You talking about talent? Like, homegirl, the mic wasn't even near her mouth, and her voice was coming through so clearly. I think that might be because of the type of mic she was using, or the type of mic she always uses. Because I don't know who I was. Oh, I was watching this Lady Gaga interview, and she's talking about different types of mic capture sound on different angles, and she was just like, yeah, like I think that's probably why the mic was like a sound, or maybe it was the I don't know, whatever the mic was. Her voice, she wasn't holding the mic up towards her mouth like 95% of the song, and you heard every word, every note was like clean, clear. I was like, whoa, I've never experienced a singer like that before. Never. She was like scatting, or like maybe it was running. Yeah, I think it was running. She was running. Like, it was just like an incredible performance. I was like, wow, wow. And she looked really incredible too. She looked really incredible. They ended talking about the breast cancer a little bit and making sure people go out there and get their oh, they talked about her father too. And how he was the miners didn't want. Wait, did they talk about her father? No, they didn't talk about her father. That was the Oprah interview I watched. Well, they briefly talked about her father. Um, I wish there was like a Q&A because I have questions. I want to know more about. I actually. No, I'm not even gonna get into it. But I did have questions. I wish there was a Q&A. It was just like a wrap up. She came out to Cozy, which I was like Cozy, and then they ended with Texas Hold'em. It was cool. It was cool. It was a nice evening with Tina, Kelly, and Mathew, and Yolanda. A whole lot of. I was not expecting all of that, but yeah. Shout out to all of them. That's all I got. Thanks for